Right then, guys, let's talk team of the season for the under-23s. This is the rule. Age 22 or younger on the 13th of August, 2021. Remember back then? Long time ago. Here we are. We both put our team together, and there are some changes within it, and there's some talent in this Premier League. Kick us off, thank you.
I've started with basically the only goalkeeper eligible in Ilham Meslier from Leeds. But I do have to say, I think he deserves it in many ways because of the fact that he does have the ability to make fantastic saves. He makes crazy saves at times. Yeah. He gets peppered, though. Being in goal for Leeds United, this hasn't been a great season for them. Exposed under Marcelo Bielsa, their defence. And yes, he had to pick the ball out of the net a lot of times. And yes, he's made errors. He's a 22-year-old goalkeeper in the Premier League. He's probably 10 years away from his peak. And he's made a fantastic start. It can't really be easy to be the Leeds keeper.
No, you're right. I think, look, there aren't that many options. And I think that says a lot about goalkeepers and how generally they are that little bit older. I think he's a victim of the team and the style of play as well. He's probably making the same amount of mistakes and maybe the same amount of saves last season, but they were winning games because they had a striker. So I think that's what's hurt him a little bit. But at the time of recording, it's just after the Arsenal game where he's had an absolute car crash. But look, you're right. And the important thing, he's played games. Yeah. And that's going to help down the line, isn't it? Talk us through your back line.
Alexander-Arnold, Trent Alexander-Arnold, superb. Yes, he isn't in my overarching team of the season, but for people they say, what do you mean?
What's this nonsense?
Reece James has played in the central...
In a four?
In a back three, centrally. He's now a central defender.
Okay.
So I've got them both in. Yeah, I can do something that Gareth Southgate can't. I can get Trent Alexander-Arnold and Reece James into the same team. Brilliant player, Reece James. Fantastic start of the season. Great in the Champions League. He gets better and better. Linked with Real Madrid. I wouldn't put it beyond him to make that move as well. He could excel in any team. He's got a great future. Fantastic player.
Love him as a little libero, maybe. Driving forward with the ball could be pretty outrageous. He could do those Van Dijk pings as well.
Mark Gurhey from Crystal Palace is who I've chosen next. Brilliant on the ball. Fantastic season. He was on loan from Chelsea last year, then made the move at Swansea last year, by the way, but then made the move to Crystal Palace this year. And I actually doubted whether he could make this step up. I was quite concerned about Crystal Palace investing in a lot of championship players. Sometimes clubs don't have those players make that leap, and actually all you've done is bought yourself a championship team. He's excelled. He's got himself an England cap. Bright future for him as well. Yeah,
that pedigree of Cobham with Chelsea coming through. I thought he would do all right, and I think there's another one on the horizon, Levi Colwill. 8th most minutes in the Premier League for someone that young shows that they've been happy to just rely on him at Crystal Palace, and he's had a great season. Only dribbled past once in the entirety of the season. Mitchell has come on, broke through last season, but this year probably a bit better going forward. The tackle-wise, he's fantastic defensively. He's great as well. And he makes it into my 11 as well. The changes I've got, Salisu. Salisu has been fantastic for Southampton. He's got the most successful pressures of a centre-back in the division this year. And what that says to me is this is a guy who can read the game really, really well. I think he kind of rose to prominence in that Man City game where I think he'd had an outrageous amount of blocks and clearances in that game. But he's been absolutely fantastic for them this season. Still young, and I think has a decent ceiling. We've seen a lot of players from Southampton move on to greater things.
The word from inside Southampton is he's going to be a big signing for someone in the future, one of the top clubs. They really believe that he can do something great. Listen, let's move into the midfield. James, what have you gone for?
I mean, it's very strong once we move into this. And there are a few players on the bench for me. If you want a bench, like to have Skips come in and arrived on the scene this year. Declan Rice, absolutely outrageous. I saw Mark Noble talking about him saying, I didn't expect him to be this good. I think we thought he might be a centre-back. He's now a 6 or an 8. Man United should go and get him. Chelsea should go and get him. Fantastic player. His best mate, Mason Mount, I've chucked in there as well. Again, another player who's incredibly established, and we forget how young he is because of how mature and intelligent his football is a lot of the time. 19 goal involvements for him this year. I would imagine Chelsea's player of the season. And then Odegaard, who I think, if we have a look at your team, he's not made it in.
He's not made it into the midfield.
Okay, right. So Odegaard for me has been very, very special for that team. And I think when they are purring, he is purring. He gives you that X factor. Might not always get the goals and assists, but has done okay this season. I think he's got a really, really high ceiling and is now coming into his own.
I love Odegaard because
how is he still in the under-23s, by the way?
I know, but he helps control and calm down the team. He plays in advance of his years. I think he's got those real leadership capabilities that Arsenal have been crying out for. Couple that with the talent that he's got with his feet. He could be a great player for them in the future. I'm not sure how long they'll hold on to Martin Odegaard, I have to say. Coming from Real Madrid, with that element of I should be at one of the big clubs in the world. My talent deserves it. Will he want to stay at Arsenal for 5, 6, 10 years? I don't see that happening.
Hope 3 or 4 though, wouldn't you?
I just think if he continues to play, has the same trajectory that he's had so far, it will be very difficult for him to not want to go and play for a team that's winning titles and be linked with a side that might be, the PSGs of this world, maybe Juventus, for example, a side that can go out and go and win titles in their respective division.
If he's playing well and he's there for 6, 7 seasons, that means Arsenal have grown and done some great stuff.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a great barometer for it.
So in my midfield, just like you, Declan Rice and Mason Mount, the buddies there, sensational. But Conor Gallagher for Crystal Palace, another Chelsea loanee, a great conveyor belt they've had from Cobham. Superb. Big move for him on the way this summer, I am sure. Unless Chelsea want to keep him involved, he would be a fan favourite. They definitely need more tenacity in that midfield. If they're going to go and sign someone like Rice, could a talent like Gallagher? I think he's almost the perfect understudy for Mason Mount. I've got to be perfectly honest, if they want that depth in their team. But does he want to be a player that's on the bench, given that he's had experience now and he's proven that he can be a great player in the Premier League from the start? Yeah,
it's been such a great fit for Crystal Palace, a team that needs someone to go and press a lot of the time. It's going to be interesting to see where he does go. Front 3. Hughes, your team?
Yeah, so Martin Ødegaard is in there. Might play wide, but I think these 3 players actually, they could interchange at the front. Bukayo Saka for Arsenal. Absolutely love his talent. He's taken on more of that responsibility for Arsenal, starting to feel like an integral part. Mikel, sign that contract. Get him signed up long-term, okay? You don't want another transfer saga with this guy. He loves Arsenal through and through. I think he's been more confident with his dribbling. He's started to really go direct at players. He can get around them. He can dribble past them. He's added more goals to his game as well.
Kind of playing in that Salah role for them a lot of the time because Ødegaard drops into this space here, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I think these two have a great relationship on that side of the pitch. But I think big things, even bigger things to come from Bukayo Saka. I thought he was a bit of a fringe player for England's first team, but when you think about the World Cup towards the end of the year, I think he could be a starter for England, definitely, if he continues. Phil Foden, the same. We know what great talent he has. Yeah. He just needs to start more often. And for me, the big thing for Foden, find that settled position.
Great point.
You can't be the utility player forever at Manchester City. You'll still win titles, you'll still win trophies, but will your individual game hit the heights that I think it could? That's the only question mark. Yeah, great point. It's a great front 3. I've gone with Havertz just because I wanted that central striker. I've been able to put Ødegaard a little bit deeper. He scores big goals in big games. We still forget how young he is. He scored the winner in a Champions League final, has kept Romelu Lukaku. I know he struggled with Lukaku, but he has kept him out of the side on merit, in my opinion. And so that's why I put Havertz in that team. And I've got to say, when we look at it, there's a lot of talent. Mine beats yours.
Hang on.
Mine beats yours.
You haven't got a striker.
Just don't go long.
All season long you've been going, you need a striker if you want to win stuff. Nonsense. I've got one right here.
Okay.
My team wins. Well, you guys decide. Let us know in the comments below which team would win, Hughes or mine. Correct answer is mine if you want to know that. Hit the like button as well. And yeah, just let us know about your team of the season as well. Thanks for watching Football Forecast. For more great content, make sure you're subscribed to ESPN UK.